Hi guys, Casey with the Hob Screw here today, and I am talking about schedules. So, one of the things that I always like to say about the schedule is your day is like a puzzle, and guess what? You get to put it together any way that you want. And it's interchangeable too, meaning that it can change midday if it needs to. That's what I love about the method that I use. Now, if you were to say schedule to me, the definition of schedule to me as a mom of 7 means how in the world am I going to get everything done? That's what schedule means to me. Very early on, when we went from 1 to 5 kids in 1 year, I learned that I had to keep a tight rein on my schedule or it was going to sink me. So I kind of came up with a method that I do once a week to control my time. I only have so much time in a week, and so I like to live an intentional life and get those things that I feel I'm going to get the most dividend from, and those are the things that I want to do. So this helps me determine what my priorities are and look to get those done. It helps me budget my time. If I'm putting it in black and white, I know that I can't do this or that or whatever. I just don't have the time. It's kind of like a budget you use for your money, but it's a budget for your time. It helps me not to forget about me. Yes, I need to remember that I have needs. I cannot serve my family or my children or those around me if I don't take care of myself. So what do I need? What are the things that I need to make me successful? And you know what? It's okay to write that time in. In fact, it's needed. God wants us to take care of ourselves so that we can give to others. I often think, and this analogy was given to me a long time ago, but you know, when you're flying on the airplane and they say, put the mask on you, then your child. Sometimes, the first time I heard that, I thought, how could you do that? You'd just be a terrible mother. No, if you don't get that mask on you, you can't help your child. And so it's the same idea. You have to take care of yourself. It helps us keep it focused the day of. So we know that breakfast can't take 3 hours because we just don't have that time. So, it also keeps me off of things that are not productive. So I'm focused on what I need to get done during that time frame I have scheduled for. Okay, so it helps me evaluate the independence of my kids every week. So sometimes when you have 7, you kind of forget that this kid could be doing this at this point, or just evaluating the kid. Is the kiddo ready to be making his own breakfast? Is the kiddo ready to be adding more chores to? Because developmentally they're at that point. And every week I evaluate, you know, what can we do anything different? Can we add a little bit? Because I don't like making big changes at one time. So can we add a little bit and change something and move it this way or that way? So how does it all come together? Well, basically what I do is I take our calendar for the week and I look at it. And if there's any appointments that we have scheduled, then we look at trying to combine our errands that day. We live out in the country, and so we save time and money with gas by combining as much as we can into one day. When we went from 1 to 5, most of those 5 had significant special needs at the time. And so that was kind of what prompted me to start using this method, because it was very overwhelming, to be real honest with you. I didn't know how I was going to get it done, how I was going to keep track of everything I needed to get done. So what I did is I took and I wrote on a piece of paper the name of every one of our children and then what I needed to do. And then I took that, what I needed to do, and placed it on a schedule, and basically told myself I was going to do this. So I'm going to say that things have probably gotten a little bit easier as I've gotten older. I don't know if it's that or if I've just gotten used to it. But I still have a lot of things that I need to get done every week, and they need to get done every week. So this just helps me organize when we're going to get what we need done. Also, one of the things to consider is, are you a morning person? Is your kiddo a morning person? Do you have teenagers? We have one teenager, but he is very much of a morning person. And so he actually needs to be up by 7:30 at the latest, or he's just sluggish all day. So that's something that he needs. So I need to write that in. So one of the things that he does is he gets up and he does his exercise for the morning. So he's up probably a little bit earlier than the rest of us, but he's getting something productive done. Some of the things that I have on my list that I want to do consistently is, one is Bible devotions. I want my kids to have a habit of doing their devotions on a regular basis and digging into God's word and having a time of prayer. And so that is something that I schedule on a regular basis, because that's a habit I want them to form. Exercise, I need them to be active. I need to be active. I found that I feel better if I can jump on that treadmill in the morning. It's not my favorite thing to do, to be honest with you. So it's kind of one of those things that I have to schedule in. But I also need them to be active so that they've got the wiggles out. So that's something that we look to do every day. Meals. Eating appropriate meals and healthy meals. That's something I plan in, and generally our meal times are about an hour every day, because I want that an hour per meal every day, because I want them to eat and I want them to enjoy it, and I also want them to clean up after themselves. School's a biggie, and there's a lot of needs just encompassing that particular category. But school is something that I prioritize and I take very seriously. But schooling's also a time for me to invest in my children. And so I not only want them to be able to have time to do their schoolwork, but I want to be able to teach them, because I want them I want to have those memories with them, honestly. I want them to look back on learning, and hopefully that some of it would have been fun. So that's a goal for me. Friend time. It's important that they have their friend time, and that I have my friend time. God has blessed us with some really good people, and so we want to be able to cherish those times with our friends. A library. I visit the library. I try to do once a week, because my kids read that fast through their books, and so the library is a good wealth of information. Plus, there's just so many things there that you can take advantage of, and resources for a homeschool parent. So church is very important, and we attend twice a week, and so that is something that I want to make time for as well. Household chores. Now, this is a need of mine. I like my house to be nice and neat and tidy before I can even think of schooling the children. So this is something that I realized a long time ago. So we do chores before we do school, and so that has helped out. Family time. Sammy's really good about scheduling or wanting to put something on the schedule, and planning a movie night or a family fun night outside. And so that's always important, where we are scheduling time for everyone is getting together, just having time together, that we're not being distracted by something else. Quiet time. This is another need of mine, but I would also say it's a need of my children. So the days that we don't do quiet time, we all get a little bit more irritable quickly. So I have found that just even if it's half hour to 45 minutes, it helps to have some time where I can just lay down for a few minutes. I can power nap for 15 minutes and I'm ready to go. So that just anything that I can just have a few minutes of time to myself just to regroup. And so that's kind of what quiet time is. For my children, it's time in their room where most of them read. They might have some leftover schoolwork they need to finish up, or they watch a DVD. So I have noticed that it just kind of resets our whole family. So I highly recommend it. And then free time. I think free time's definitely needed. They need to have time where they can pursue what they want to pursue. And generally, electronics is during this time and only allowed during that time. So so it's something that I do limit, because I don't want my children sitting on electronic devices all day long. So those are the things that I write into my weekly schedule. Okay, so here's a copy of the spreadsheet that I use in Numbers on my iPad to keep track of our schedule. You will notice that in column A, we have the time that is allotted for that particular activity that I've chosen. And then everybody else's, I have a column for everybody in the family, including me. If there's something in particular that they need to be doing, then I will note that in their little time slot underneath their name so I can be reminded that's what they need to be doing. On this particular day, we started off with chores and breakfast, and they have a list of chores that they need to do every day. And so, in breakfast, I generally take about an hour. And so they worked to get that done. And then from 10 to 11, we have what it's called major cleaning once a week, and that's when they clean out their rooms, clean the basement, clean out the van. They have some other once a week chores that they do. And generally during this hour, I may be able to get a little of something done, but generally I am conducting traffic and policing arguments and that sort of thing of he's not working, that good stuff that comes with siblings. And then from 11 to 12 was their free time, and this is designed so that they'll be in their room, in the living room while I'm bleaching the bathroom and mopping the kitchen floor and that sort of thing. And then I generally allow for another half hour. They played another hour for me. They played outside during this time, and I got some windows washed and things like that. Just some little things that I needed to do in my house. This is the time that I have to do that. And then they have lunchtime, and they'll fix and prepare and clean up their lunch as well. And then you'll notice that we have quiet time. And under this time, Sammy actually has feed animals because he was caring for some animals for a friend. And so this was the time that he did this. And the rest of them had a 2-hour quiet time. Now, normally I don't get 2 hours, but because they were recovering from kids camp, I really felt I needed to boost their rest. So that's what I did. And then from 4 to 5, Sammy worked up with the kids, and he did some President Grant reading. He finished up a book that day. While they were doing that, I was working on my blog. And then from 5 to 6:30, they have free time. And during free time, they can do what they wish, and they're usually playing together in the living room, usually on electronics of some kind. And I did bills and school planning, a to-do list. It's also time for me to get my dinner going, and that's always nice to do without a bunch of chaos going around. So that's what I worked on. And then last but not least, we finish up our day with from 6:30 to 8 with dinner and cleanup, and then our bedtime prep, which is things like brushing your teeth and that sort of fun stuff. All our middles and littles go to bed at 8 right now, and then they watch a DVD for a while. But I always tell my children I'm done at 8. Any grace that I have had has ran out at 8. So I'm ready to put my feet up for a while. So Sam generally stays up with Rick and I for a little while, and he goes to bed around 9. But this gives Rick and I some time to be together as well. And then we head to bed too. Okay, so this is our visual schedule. This is what I use to tell the kids what's going on for the day. And this helps out because by kiddo number 4 asking me either what's for dinner or what's going on today, I just feel like I'm repeating myself, and sometimes I get a little irritated about it actually. So if they're asking me something that I can refer them to the schedule board, that's what I'll do. And so I have the date, especially on school days, have the date usually written there, as well as what we're having for dinner. So that way everybody kind of knows what to expect and what's coming down. And then I write all the scheduled times on these yellow little time slots of how long I expect that particular activity to take. And I use dry erase sheets is what I use. Some of the ones that we do every single day, I just print it out on the computer, and then I pencil in other stuff as we go. Now, it's dry erase for a reason. I used to print it out every single week, but I would get so frustrated because if things didn't go right, then I would have to reprint out another one. So that's one of the reasons I went to this one, because it's dry erase, so it easily just can be erased and adjusted times. So if we ran a little long, or let's say, which hardly ever happens, something didn't last as long as I thought it would, then we can adjust our times or adjust what we're doing to meet whatever our day is going to look like. So I hope this helps. A little piece of it helps. It certainly made my life easier, and I can get it all done on one day and it's ready to go, and I don't have to think about it much through the rest of the week. I just have to worry about getting it all executed and done. So anyways, I'm gonna head off and do my schedule for this week. So wish me luck and comment. Let me know what you think of this, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Please subscribe to our channel.